Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Steve Harris with Jet Closing. Thanks for joining us for our sixth episode of Keeping It Real in Real Estate. I have Vince, Jeremy, Ryan, and Rick with me today to talk about different things happening within the real estate market. We've got a great show planned for you today, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Like I said, my name is Steve Harris with Jet Closing. I've got a brief point that I want to make about our service with Jet Closing. We are a title and escrow company, and we offer free mobile notaries anywhere in the U.S. for no additional charge. The free mobile notary comes out of our flat escrow fee, so you're not paying a bunch of extra money for free mobile notaries, junk fees, or anything like that. So give us a quick look at jetclosing.com. See where we can give free mobile notaries to your client. I'm going to go ahead and push it to Jeremy with Fairway Mortgage. Jeremy, take it away.
Hey everybody, Jeremy Crudup with Fairway Mortgage, where we do things the fair way. You can find me at LasVegasHomeFinance.com. One of the things I wanted to discuss today was how to find some homes in the difficult market that we're in. Everyone's kind of fighting for the same pretty homes with the most curb appeal and the ones that, are turnkey. I kind of want to bring up a concept that you should be looking for ugly homes. I know that sounds a little counterintuitive, but to be honest, there can be some gems out there equity-wise, maybe some property that isn't going to have as much competition when you guys get to the negotiation table. Right now, there's a lot of cash bids and a lot of competition for the small amount of homes that are out there right now. So one of the ideas is maybe shoot for one that isn't as popular. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen a little bit and go over an article that I have for everybody. So this is from home.com, Fairway's website. And struggling to find a home in this market, buy an ugly house. Now this is an article from a realtor. So, to be transparent, she's in the business of selling homes. So she obviously wants to sell as many as possible, but it is a great angle to think about. Obviously some things that come up are you up for the challenge? There are some renovations in with one of these properties that you might have to go through, which can be tasking for some people. If you're not up to that, maybe buying the ugly home isn't for you. But for most people, they can turn a wrench or swing a hammer a little bit and tear down some drywall. So if that's something you think you can handle, I think it's a great angle. Also, do you see the potential in an ugly house? What are some of the requirements you're going to need for your house? Obviously, these are areas that pertain to anyone buying a home, the square footage, school district, and these different things. But you can find ugly houses within this this market right now. And a couple of things that this gal talks about are some of the pros and cons here. So buying a home that needs a lot of work is a great way for home ownership, as you're going to get more equity in the growth of the property as you improve upon it and as the market continues to grow. One of the downsides is there are going to be some renovation costs involved in that, so that you could have to have a little bit more savings involved to get into this sort of thing. If you have a family member or a friend that is a little more handy and maybe does construction, I know a lot of us know some people like that. Perhaps you can get a deal and do a little sweat equity yourself in tearing down some walls or slapping some paint. Really, the advantage here is that you're going to have less competition with the other people bidding for homes. Really got to decide, are you a Chip or a Joanne? The way she describes in this article is Chip is the fixer-upper kind of guy. Joanne wants a turnkey home. But really, you got to find what's best for you. There are some different programs that really help with this sort of thing. USDA isn't as popular in the residential areas, but if you are in an area that has homes outside the major metropolitan area, you can do that. Also VA, one of my core favorites. You can obviously do 0% down for renovation loans. And then, the different loan programs, FHA and conventional that are out there. But really what I want to stress on this is that these properties are out there, you guys. The ugly bathrooms, the houses that need paint. Our house didn't have greatest paint. We had a few rooms that were like turquoise blue when we moved in, but a little paint. In fact, the office that I work in with all these pretty windows back here, no, my real office, we did put some paint up, and it just changes the house. We got equity in that. I think everyone's fighting for the same area, the same pretty house. Everybody wants, the same iPhone, the same Tesla, and we're all focusing toward the same things, you need to spread your wings a little bit and find some opportunity if you really start looking for a house. And I'm sure we can get some feedback from Rick later on that, on his experience in that. But don't be scared to go outside the box, especially if it's your first home. It doesn't have to be the perfect one. You're doing this for an investment growth for your future, not necessarily the final home you're gonna live in forever. So that's my little piece. Jeremy Crudup with Fairway Mortgage. Again, you can reach me at LasVegasHomeFinance.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy. I think that was a very, very well said. And I think that actually kind of gives some people ideas on how to survive this market that we're in. So thank you for that. Appreciate it. We're going to come to Vince with our market update. I think Vince has a lot to talk about with what happened this last week. So we're going to give the floor to Vince.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Vince Mazzacco. I'm an independent mortgage broker, physically located in Scottsdale, Arizona, covering California and Arizona. So this week we've got a lot going on. Obviously, the Russian invasion in Ukraine continues to keep the entire world markets on its heels, and we're just seeing some really unprecedented moves in the mortgage bond market, and the U.S. Treasury bills as well. So we can start off here, quite a bit going on. So this is today, this is Monday, Friday, Thursday, Wednesday. Okay, so this was when the Fed spoke last week, Jerome Powell more specifically. He comes out twice a year, speaks in front of Congress. And, with the invasion of Ukraine, which probably happened right here, I don't know the exact dates, the price of bonds started to rise because that invasion created uncertainty in the market, and bonds don't like uncertainty. So bond prices started to improve, which means interest rates went down. I said that wrong. Stock market doesn't like uncertainty, so the stock market sells off and investors buy bonds, driving the price of bonds up and interest rates down. So now Wednesday comes along, and the Fed, prior to Russia's invasion, had been talking about raising the overnight lending rate, and maybe there was a 50 basis point hit out there for here later on in March, but that certainly got turned into a quick quarter point. And quarter point was kind of the consensus, but maybe with hope that there'd be a half a point, because the Fed's really behind the eight ball. They should have started raising overnight lending rates, 6 months ago. But they're always behind the eight ball, and I can show you statistics that would show you that. So anyway, so he comes out and says, hey, we got to be really careful here. We got to be nimble. And he kind of backed down from his aggressiveness, and the bond market didn't like that. So let's clarify what this means. So when the Fed raises the overnight lending rate, that's what the banks can lend to each other's at and what institutions borrow from banks at. That has nothing to do in direct proportion to mortgage bond prices. But when the Fed raises the overnight lending rate, in general, that's an inflationary move. Hey, we're going to start fighting inflation. And if I'm going to fight inflation, bond prices like that, which mean bond prices should go up. So since he backed off from their stance, well, we're going to have to be really careful here. The bond market just didn't like that because they thought for sure there was, a raise coming, maybe 4 raises this year. And all of a sudden, the market didn't like that. We lost 100 basis points on this day. So, Jeremy, you can go along with this. And people don't understand this. Interest rates moved a quarter point in that day. They moved a quarter point in this day. You quote somebody in the morning 4%, and in the afternoon you're quoting them 4.25%. So now, since then we had a really good jobs report come out on Friday. We've just got Ukraine just continues to be a mess. And today was actually a fairly balanced day until late in the day here. Then all of a sudden the market started to turn for the worse. Bond prices started to worsen. So let's look at a bigger picture here. So the 10-year Treasury is up 5 basis points, and these are big moves from day to day. The past month and a half have been big moves from day to day. And now we're trading in a really wide range. So we got our 50-day moving average here, we got our 100-day moving average here, this purple line, and now we're starting to trade in this range, which is going to have a tendency to get whipsawed, up, down, up, down, up, down. But as we look larger and down the road at a looming recession and what's happening, let's go take a peek at this right here. I think I've talked about this before. Remind me if I have or haven't, guys. The 10-year minus the 2-year. Did I talk about this before?
Yep.
Okay, so look what's happening. We started what, 6 weeks ago, our first show. So that was maybe early February.
Yep.
So, early February, it's hard to get this in there, but yeah, 63 basis points or so was the difference from the 10-year minus the 2-year. And now look where we're at. Just a month and a half later, we're at 25 basis points. Why is this important? If the Fed starts to raise the overnight lending rate later this month, that's going to drive the short-term rates up. And as I mentioned a minute ago, should bring long-term rates down. What happens to the 10 minus the 2? This is going to get closer. And every time we fall below a negative, the 10 minus the 2, these gray shaded areas are recessions. Every time the last 40 years we fall below, a recession follows within 12 or 18 months. And that means prices would fall. So just a really turbulent, it's a really tough time to be guiding borrowers, with, hey, should I lock or not? I mean, it's definitely a locking bias unless somebody can really just stomach the changes, because you can see pretty big changes from day to day, and somebody's got to be able to stomach those.
Yeah, I can't see where a buyer wouldn't want to lock their rate in with as much. I mean, I think you're gambling in the wrong direction without locking your rate. I think
Right.
both of our mortgage experts agree with us.
Yeah, because if you look at the longer trend, I mean, here was the trend, right? And then all of a sudden we hit this spot here where we kind of flattened out, and then the Ukraine thing happened, and we got a nice little bounce, right? Because we lost quite a bit through here, and then we got the bounce and improved. But now we're just really starting to get whipsawed in here because of these wide ranges between ceilings and floors and the uncertainty. And the stock market really sold off. Look what this S&P did, 127 sell off here in the afternoon.
Wow. Well, thank you, Vince. That was
Yep.
a really, really great market update. Appreciate you navigating those shark-infested waters for us and our audience.
Yep.
Mr. Ryan, tell us how to fix our credit this week.
All right. So tip of the week for this week, and once again, I'm Ryan with Delete Street Credit Repair. If you're a mortgage broker in the real estate industry, reach out. Costs nothing to talk to me. I have a program that's designed that can definitely help you turn your unqualified customers because of their credit within to qualified in as little as 30 days, although that's not realistic, more likely within 6 to 12 months. But, if it's not money today, it's a savings plan for you tomorrow. So don't walk away. If you're a customer with bad credit, again, it costs nothing to talk. My website, deletestreet.com. I have appointments for anybody in any industry to set up a time where we can walk through and just go over what we can do for you. This week's tip, I've gone over in the past weeks, I've gone over for the FICO score chart, the two big ones, which are the payment history and the amounts owed. This week, we're going down to the bottom, which is new credit. It's only 10% of your credit score, 55 points in total, but it's just as important as the other ones. New credit is a combination of inquiries when you go out and you apply for new credit and you get an inquiry, and your new accounts. A new account, when we're talking about mortgage models, is anything generally under 2 years. There's some instances where it might be 1 year, but we're going to talk about it as if it's a new account that's less than 24 months old. You just want to do everything that you can when you're about to apply for a mortgage or thinking that you're going down that road to not take on any new accounts. It makes you look a lot more unstable and it raises red flags. That's the last point I'm going to talk about. But, instability to a lender gives them reason to question if you're ready to or able to make payments. And when you're talking about, again, in Las Vegas, average home prices are, for a starter house, just under $500,000. That's a lot of money. So they're going to want to make sure that you have the ability to repay. So if you're considering applying for a mortgage, think that it's something that's in the cards in the next year to two. My recommendation is just to sit on your credit. Don't apply for anything new. Don't open a new credit card. Don't go out and buy a new car. Just let the credit that you have age. And then, there's going to be some instances where we will, at least from my perspective, I would advise people to open new accounts. And that's just in a very rare case where they don't have a balance and they're losing a lot of FICO points for it. And it's something that can be explained if a mortgage underwriter asks, why did you open this account? Excuse me. Another instance, and this is a customer that Jeremy and I are both hand holding through the repair process as she gets closer. She called me last week and asked if it would be okay if she refinanced her car from about a 20% interest rate down to a 6% interest rate. So I conferenced her in with Jeremy. We talked about it and decided that that would be something that if it came up, a letter could explain, because she's keeping the same car, but she's making a better financial decision to get a better interest rate, lower her payment, and put herself in a better situation. So, again, if you're going to do anything with your credit and you're planning on buying a house, just don't do it. Don't go on a spree of applying for credit, because the last thing that you want is for yourself to have a bunch of new credit cards and a mortgage underwriter to say, why does he need that much credit? What's wrong? Like, what's wrong is what we want to avoid. So anything we can do to avoid red flags, scrutiny, and if you just manage the credit that you have, if you have a balanced profile with some credit cards and installment loans, then the best thing you can do is just pay it on time, get your balances down, and just let it age. And you'll end up having a better FICO score, a better interest rate than you would have if you didn't just let it go. So that's my tip for the week. Just if you're going to apply for a mortgage, don't apply for anything else. No cards, no cars, no nothing else.
Perfect. Thank you, Ryan. I do have one question for you. When you're doing your credit repair services, are you only doing those in Vegas, or where do you want clients from?
Right now, Nevada is where I'm licensed and bonded, and then I'm looking to expand. I have to follow state laws in any state where my customers are. So right now I'm licensed and bonded in Nevada, but if there's an opportunity to expand into another state, every state has different requirements, different verbiage that goes into a contract. So it takes some planning and some investment to go outside of the boundaries.
I gotcha. So licensed and bonded, I think you're the first credit repair person I've heard talk about that. So it's good to know. I think you need to hammer that licensed and bonded a lot, because I know a lot of people that are not.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So. Well, thank you, Ryan. We appreciate your credit repair tip of the week. And now we're going to introduce Mr. Rick Tankersley. He's going to tell us how to sell real estate and train us as realtors so that we know how to do it better. Rick, take it away.
Yes, sir. I'm Rick Tankersley. I'm in San Antonio, Texas. I heard you saying that the starter home in Las Vegas, Ryan, is about $500,000, and I feel like I'm in the cheap seats because I'm out here where it's we can still pick up a house for about $280,000-$300,000 here in San Antonio. It's going up, but it's but we're not up in the big leagues with you guys. But anyway, we are. It's exciting times. I say that because I have to stay motivated, right? I have to keep myself motivated and stay in a good mindset. All a realtor really wants is for everything to stay normal, but it never does. Just when you think you've got it figured out, something happens. Just when you think everything okay, I'm okay with the way the inventory is really low. I'm okay with buyers and multiple offers and everything. And then Russia goes and does something that affects everybody. And I'm like, what the heck? Why can't we just be normal for a short amount of time? But one thing in the last 25 years I've learned is normal is chaos in a realtor a lot of times, and we have to individually have to maintain our sanity and keep that positive mindset. So first thing we have to do is have all the knowledge that Vince has given us, take it, internalize it, but say, you know what? I'm still going to find people, regardless of whether the market crashes or the market goes up or down. I have to maintain a positive mindset and maintain even keel and go out and find opportunity. So what's great about this market, and this may or may not sound negative, but there have been a certain thing. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about when I say order takers, people who are basically on the market. They get their license and they're just there. They grab whatever business they can skim off the top because it's easy business, right? Right now, it's been kind of easy to find buyers, and the conditions have been good. But as things get a little worse or things change, the market changes a little bit. There's a shift. you're going to see those order takers start to go away. And those who have maintained their business and built their business and scaled up and have learned and the skills and strategies and they don't let they don't let the market dictate their business or their mindset. They drive the market. They go out and find opportunity instead of waiting for it to come to them. Those are the ones that stay around. And because the order takers will get scared, they'll go away and they won't be able to make it because they don't have the skill set that the other agents do. Then we'll have a bigger piece of the pie. So that's something to look forward to. I do want to share my screen real quick because when we talk about Jeremy talked about selling ugly houses. That's exactly right. I have everybody needs a roof over their head, and a lot of times people are renting, but man, the rentals are prices are going up all the time too. So it still makes more sense to buy rather than rent. So whenever I feel like I'm struggling a little bit with leads and I don't want to spend a lot of money on leads, I go back and I hit the rental market. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how to find find renter leads and convert those renter leads to buyers. So the first thing, everybody has an MLS. It's completely they're different systems, but it's pretty much the same mechanism when it comes to realtors, what they use. But in the MLS, you can do a search for everything that's rented. You can pick a subdivision, you can pick an area, a zip code, whatever you want to do, narrow down the search to your liking, and then for a status, use rented. Look for everything that rented in the last 12 months. So, and in that area that you picked, the neighborhood or subdivision, you can pick rented, pick 12 months back, and now you have a list of people who have signed a rental or a lease within the last 12 months, which is fantastic because they have something coming up in the next 6 to 12 months probably. So this is a great time to go out and talk to them about buying a house. The great thing about talking to renters is that they don't want to keep throwing their money away. There's some things about them that they're nervous about buying. Maybe it's a credit thing. Maybe we need to get them with our credit repair guy. Maybe we need to help explain how mortgages work, or maybe we just need to ease their tension because they've never bought before and they're a little scared. And we can do that. But the main thing we have to remember is everybody needs a roof over their heads, and a renter is not out searching for Zillow and searching Realtor.com and things like that. You're going directly to them rather than them looking for a realtor. So you kind of eliminated the competition, and you go out and talk to them. So you can go out to the subdivision that you want to sell in or you want to prospect. You can do this by phone, you can do this in person, or you can do this in a quick letter or a postcard. Either way, it's always most effective if you knock on the door and say, "Hi, my name is Rick. I'm with XYZ Realty. Our records show that your lease may be ending soon, and I wanted to tell you about a couple of homes in the neighborhood that you can buy for the same or maybe even less monthly payment than you have now." The big question is, if you could buy in the same neighborhood for less than rent, why wouldn't you? Or if you could buy in a nice neighborhood for less than rent or get a nicer house for less than you're paying now, why wouldn't you? You don't say would you because that gives them a yes or a no out. You ask them why wouldn't you? And when you say if you could buy in the same neighborhood for less than you're renting right now, why wouldn't you? And then you just be quiet and let them explain to you all the reasons why they're renting. And you let it go and went out together. No, I'm kidding, because we know there's only one or two things, maybe three reasons they're going to tell you. Well, I don't have the money for a down payment. Well, my payment's going. They think their perception is the payment's going to be higher, or they're going to be responsible for maintenance. These are really the things. They have some other offshoot reasons, but these are the three we hear all the time. I don't. And so my question, I come back to them. What if? I'm not saying I could, but what if I could get you into a home with no money down in a comparable or nicer home for the same or lower payment and provide a top of the line warranty that will cover anything that the landlord would have to fix. So what I'm trying to do here, I'm trying to find their real objection, and I'm also trying to ease their fear that, hey, it's not that bad. We can figure out these issues. The issues that we have, of course, sometimes they say my credit's not that great. Well, we have a fix right for that right here on the show, right? We have a credit repair company that can take care of that. again, licensed and bonded. What that's unheard of. But what if I could get you into a home with no money down in a comparable or nicer home for the same low or lowered payment, and provide a top of the line warranty that will cover anything the landlord would have to fix. That takes away all of their objections, and they think about it for a minute, and they say, well, I guess I would be okay with that. Well, let's go ahead and start the process. And that's really what you're wanting to do. I think you could start a pipeline of renters right now, and you could have a pipeline by summertime that is crazy. And by summertime, you could close a bunch of renters that are looking to buy or looking to get out of their lease. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today, is going and finding opportunity when everybody else is worried about the market. I'm out there making my own opportunity. And that's what I think we need to do as realtors.
I think that accurately really addresses it, Rick, as far as, right now the market is so hot, and Vince is warning us about some of the market obstacles that are coming. Yeah, and Jeremy also with some alternatives and things like that. But, what's going to happen, as we all know, when the market shifts? How are you going to maintain your business, right?
Right.
And I think that, as far as adding renters into your pipeline, and I think we could do a whole show talking about pipeline and pipeline management and that kind of stuff, but
Oh, most
we'd,
definitely.
we'd probably bore Jeremy and Vince to death. So we probably shouldn't do
Yeah,
that. Maybe
next
a
week
one
I'd
off with
like
you
to,
and me, Rick.
most definitely. I'd like to talk about, going along with what Jeremy said this week. Non-owner occupied or absentee owner homes. Next week we can talk about that, and I'll share some information on our site about both of these subjects.
Yep. And both of those, the non-owner occupied or houses with equity and everything else, those are lead lists that your title companies can pull for you, because we have the ability to pull those leads and then do, like you said, Rick, a postcard mail out or something like that in
Hmm.
order to start getting you top of mind. And then one of the things that I personally can help with is not only just doing the postcard, but doing what I call a dual marketing strategy, to where
Wow.
you're doing a postcard mail out, but you're loading that same lead list into Facebook as a custom audience. And now you're not only reaching them with a mail out, but you're touching them online too on Facebook. And they're seeing
Wow.
your face everywhere. So,
I think
um,
as time gets crazy, as things go, when I say crazy things, when they change, when we go to a different level of chaos, we have to really tap into our resources like you, our team, our credit repair, our lenders, our title companies that offer these type of services, and the fact that we're here every week talking about how we're going to make your business better, and how the how we can help you grow your business. I think it's a great resource to tap into.
I think so
If I
too.
could add to
Go ahead,
one
Ryan.
thing Rick said too about the home warranty, I talk to a lot of people that are renters, and that's one of the biggest objections I hear about people not wanting to buy a home, is not wanting to be responsible for the maintenance. And I don't think a lot of people, if they haven't owned a home, even realize that home warranties are a thing. Even though, at least in the Las Vegas market, most of the renters are paying the home warranty deductible.
Right.
So they're already aware of the fact that they're paying $75, but they don't realize why.
This is the first market I've ever seen that happen, where the renters pay for the home warranty deductible. But yeah, I didn't see that in Texas. Seeing it here
I
though.
see it here. I see it here too. It's because of the market's a little upside down. That's why, the more craziness happens, to shift it back to more to that center, I think is where we need to be. Even though it's going to kill us because we've been in this crazy market for 3 or 4 years or longer. We've been in an upswing here in Texas. We've been in growth mode and expansion mode for, ah man, 13 years now. And when we should have been 7. And we're
Right.
ready for a correction. We're ready for a correction. No one really likes to hear that, but that's why you just got to batten down the hatches, find new ways to create opportunity for yourself as a realtor, and be excited for the shift to come. It's like a roller coaster. Just throw your hands up and enjoy the ride. Let the other ones fall out. No harm intended, but you know what I mean. We want the ones that aren't going to make it to leave, and so we can hang in there. And the idea is to be ready
Right.
and be one of those that hang in and ride out the market.
But here's the bottom line. And anybody that has MLS access and anything else, you can go in there and you can see that houses are selling every day.
Yep.
Bad market, good market, horrible market. I don't care what the market is. Houses are selling every day. The problem is that they're not selling with, either you, the realtor, you, the mortgage. They're not doing the credit repair with Ryan, or they're not doing the title stuff with Steve. But the transactions haven't stopped. The
Right.
transactions have just stopped with you, and it's because, like you said, we're not developing our pipelines, Rick, or we're not looking for the alternative ways to get people in a house, Jeremy. We're not paying attention to the market, or, my God, Ryan, we're dealing with a credit repair person that's not licensed or bonded, right? So, the transactions don't go away in any real estate market. I don't care if you're in Alaska or you're in Texas. Real estate is still moving. Go ahead, Vince. You're muted.
Oh, no. I was just gonna, yeah, go ahead, keep going.
Nope, go ahead. It's a roundtable.
Yeah,
I have
so,
something to
one of
throw
the
in.
things, oh yeah,
Go ahead.
so, one of the things I left out of my market update is the price of oil. And the price of oil is continuing to escalate, and that's really inflationary across the board. People don't realize how many things oil is in. Oil is in plastic, oil is in bedding, oil is in a lot of things. And right now I think we're hovering $113, $114 a barrel. 125, 140, maybe 150 could be in the cards. And that's just, that's another 30. Think about gas prices, right? We've gone up 10% just in the last week. If you're paying $4 a gallon, you're paying $4.50. We could see $5.50 to $6 a gallon, if the price of oil gets to 150, because Russia was producing about 5 billion barrels a day, and exporting the majority of that, 4.5 to 5. So that's now gone, right? Because of all these sanctions, they're being clamped down. So that's just putting pressure everywhere else. And one of the things that people, the oil futures look like prices are falling, because if you look out a couple of months, oil futures are 115, then 110, and then 105. But that's oil reserves, because oil has to be stored. So it's those future prices are based on the amount of reserves that are available. So because there's less production, there's more reserves available, which makes it looks like the price of gas, if you look at the futures, it's decreasing, when actually the price of gas is going up. There's just more storage for it, so the price is going down, because, hey, we'll take your storage, right? So anyway, go ahead, Jeremy.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
I just want to throw in a little bit of positivity and just some overall thinking about some simple math here. I mean, rent, it goes. Let's just do some simple math. If you pay $2,000 a month rent, which I think is for all of us is a comparable normal 3-4 bedroom home wherever we live, right? Times a year is what, 24,000, easy. So if you rent for a year, you're going to 100% chance waste $24,000.
Totally.
Now, if you buy a house, you're going to spend that same 24,000 into a house, but guess what? It's your house. No one can kick you out at the end of the year. Even if the house goes down in value by 10,000, who cares? You don't have to leave. You don't have to move. You know what I mean? People are so worried about the market changing. Even if the property goes down a little, you're in a home. You're there. I know, granted, safety talk here. I don't think that's going to happen due to the supply and demand issue that we have with properties. We're just going to see them going up and up. I think regardless of how the economy does, homes are going to continue to be kind of, again, a stable place to put your money. But I personally use a total cost analysis for new borrowers, where I take a column of their rent over 10 years, and it's a big red column of wasted money. And there's 2 more columns of multiple loan programs that they could be in, where the money's green, where they have some savings. And it's all about telling your people, the real core future is rent's just waste, no matter what. We're talking about inflation and money going other places, gas is costing more. What's the easiest way to save money is to not waste it. So wasting it on rent, I just think, is such an easy way to save yourself some money. Sure, the Band-Aid hurts in the beginning to tear off, because you got to empty your bank account. You got to really commit, like marriage or a new job or something like that. It's a big commitment, but it's a safe one, in my opinion. So
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. And I think that's why agents can go out and go directly to the renters and use that ammunition. If you and hook up with you or somebody who knows how to sell that from a lender point of view, And if they can just go out there and reach them and talk sense to them, they're going to sell more houses and eliminate some of the competition. And again, it doesn't matter what the rates are. The rates could go up 7, 8%, and people are still going to want to buy houses. And no, everyone has a dream of home ownership. They get worried, they get negative about what's going on in the world and what's going on social media and world news and things like that. But after they get their bearings about them and they realize it's not going to come down, they start buying again. It happens all the time. I've sold houses in my lifetime up to 12% interest rate, which is not fun, but it was still. And there were times that people got 11 or 12% and they were still excited to close. And so people want to buy a house, and they don't want to waste that money. And it's up to you and I as real estate professionals to share that information with people to say, look, we don't want you to lose $25,000, $30,000 a year. We want to help you. We want to help you at least put that into an investment in your own home for you and your family's future. So I think it's a no-brainer. We just have to have the wherewithal to go out there and find the people who are renting and be willing to share that information with them.
But I think it's also fear, Rick, right? I mean, one of the things that you
Mhm.
talked about in your training was, okay, let's go door knocking.
Right.
Now, if you're talking to a person that has never been in sales before, but they've got their real estate license, and this is a big, big, big pet peeve of mine, is that there's no
Yeah.
sales training when we're
Right.
talking about realtors.
Oh, I
I've gotten
agree.
on this soapbox before, and I know Rick's gotten on it too. But in your training, you're saying, hey, go knock on these rental doors with these addresses. That's terrifying. But
Hmm.
here's a way to make it less terrifying, right?
Hmm.
The
Right.
first time we talk to anybody, the first time we're doing our new job, or the first time we're doing something that we've never done before, we're going to sound like an idiot. We're
Right.
going to have marbles in our mouth or mud in our mouth or whatever. We're not going to say everything right. We're going to feel uncomfortable, and we're going to think we sounded like a moron. Here's the thing. The person you're talking to doesn't know Rick's script.
Yeah.
You're the
That's
only one
exactly
that
right.
knows Rick's script, right?
Hmm.
So even if you say something wrong, it doesn't matter. They're not reading a cue card, making sure and grading you, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly right. And the more they do it, the better they get at it. And the less the fear subsides through fear exposure therapy. They just do it more and more, and they're not afraid anymore. But unfortunately, people will do one, agents, I should say, will do one or two, and they'll that experience, that first experience of them feeling awkward and then feeling like they were shot down, registers as so much pain in their brain that they don't want to go back and do it the next day. So
Right.
if they can just overcome that and just push themselves a little bit and keep doing it, they'll overcome that fear, and pretty soon they'll be rocking and rolling.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
I got a
I
little
think Vince
tidbit for
had
that.
something too.
I've done tons of training jobs or sales jobs, and from door to door to various things. And one thing I can tell you that always works is if you come from a place of compassion, you come from a place of really, truly wanting to help a person.
Hmm.
Even if you marble up and you don't know what you're saying and you make a mistake, that genuinosity, that true you is going to stick through more than anything. And you'll be surprised that some of the best salesmen I've ever met are very good at both. They are good with what to say when it's the right time to say it, but they're also very genuine. And we're very fortunate to be in a job and a career where we're actually helping people. Ryan's changing people's lives all the time, making them not be afraid of making bigger purchases. Rick's showing people that yes, you can buy a house. It doesn't have to be scary. It's all positive and genuine. And if you really care, I don't want to get all warm and fuzzy, but like if you love what you do and you love to help these people, they'll feel that, and you'll be a success. That's the easiest
Right.
thing.
I
And one thing
agree.
I can add on to what Jeremy said earlier about people being afraid of emptying their bank accounts, and I talk like more towards the first time home buyer and someone that's gone through my program. If you're buying a house and you're a first time home buyer, you're probably at least at a 640 credit score. Buying that house is going to diversify your credit score, where it's going to make your credit go up. You're going to have more opportunities. And if you can really clamp down and be responsible, then I would recommend people, look into like, there's an American Express card that you can qualify for at about a 600, 650 credit score, where you can get 6% cash back going to the grocery store. Credit cards are great if you pay your bill off at the end of the month. So once you actually have a credit score, you can start making it work for you, just shopping the same way that you already do and start earning money just doing what you do normally.
Great point.
Well, anybody, I mean, I think that we've had, some really, really good elements as far as what we've talked about. Rick, you always bring so much to our training plate to where, and things to think about and how to diversify your business and make sure that your pipeline is full. Ryan as well. I mean, I think that the credit repair tips that you're giving are just golden because it's such a scary business for all of us, when we're trying to get people to help with their credit and everything else. And there's just so many dips within credit repair. I really, really appreciate what you bring to the table. Vince, your market updates are always amazing and very, very informative and always help us try to understand what's being done to us by the market. So really, really appreciate that. And Jeremy, of course, the alternative ways that you look for finding a home, we appreciate that too. So thank you everyone for attending our 6th episode of Keeping It Real in Real Estate. We're going to be putting this out on Facebook, LinkedIn, and everywhere. Please like, share, and comment. And if you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, we always appreciate it because we're trying to share the message that we're giving and grow the audience. So share, like, comment. If you have any questions or something that you would like us to cover, please comment on the social media platforms or YouTube. Ask anybody a questions. You can address anybody by name and say, hey, Vince, what do you think about this? Or Ryan, I don't think I have any credit. What should I do? Or Rick, I don't know what a pipeline is. Can you tell me that? Or Jeremy, I'm just lost. Call me. Please comment in the comments. We're always happy to talk to you. And thank you so much for attending show 6. Thanks, guys. Have a fantastic afternoon.